So I recently made a video on a game from the David Bronstein book on the 1953 Zurich tournament. And in this game, Bronstein wanted to teach us about a dark squared weakness. Well, this game I'm going to show you in the Nimzo-Indian defense really makes the dark squared weakness idea crystal clear. So the Nimzo begins d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, and bishop b4. And this game proceeded e3, b6, which is a line we've been studying lately. I made an introductory video on this line, and I'll put a link to that video in the description below. Okay, the game continued knight e2, bishop a6. This is known as the Bronstein variation. Now, it's well known that white can get a good position after a3, inducing black to give up the bishop pair without having to double any c-pawns. And then d5 to pressure the pawn on c4, hoping white will exchange and black will be able to exchange these light squared bishops. But white simply anchors that c4 point with b3 and has a good position. But this game had a different move featured. White tried knight to g3 to guard the c4 pawn, and black took the opportunity to double white's c-pawns, and then played d5 to pressure c4. White decided to gambit a pawn and play bishop to a3. It's a great square for that bishop. There are a lot of pawns on dark squares here, so white finds a nice diagonal that prevents black from castling. But black is able to snatch the c4 pawn. Bishop to e2 was played. Another idea that could have been played immediately was e4. But bishop e2, then bishop b7. Since the pawn is blocking the bishop, it sees more action on this diagonal, so it's attacking the g2 pawn. White castles to guard it, and then black plays b5 to guard the c4 pawn. Rook to b1, attacking b5, a6 to guard it, and then bishop to f3. Now white did have a tactic. White could have played bishop takes c4 since this pawn is pinned. But black could have continued bishop takes g2, king takes g2, and then b takes c4. Then queen to a4 check will regain the pawn, and material will be equal. That's a possibility, but white preferred instead to play bishop to f3 in this position. Now knight to d5 guards the bishop on b7. Queen to d2 protects the c3 pawn. c6, bad move. Okay, that puts another pawn on a light square. So now we see what a dark squared weakness is. Look at all those squares I highlighted. Okay, they're all vulnerable. White does have a dark squared bishop. Black does not have one to help protect those dark squares. So I don't like that move c6. Okay, knight e4, heading for this nice d6 square, attacking the king, calling check. Queen d7, strange move, but I suppose black wants to put the king over on d8, maybe hide on the queen side. Knight to d6 check, king to d8, e4 attacks the knight, knight retreats to b6, bishop h5 attacks the f7 pawn, and another move that black doesn't want to play, g6, creating even more dark squared weaknesses. Now every one of black's pawns is on a light square, and he has a light squared bishop, so that's a bad bishop right there. Okay, queen to g5 check rather than retreating the bishop, and then king to c7, and queen to e5, and black resigned because white's attacking the rook in the corner and threatening a discovered check on the king. All right, I learned something. Hope you did too. Thanks for watching.